Is that vodka? Oh.
Who, for me? Oh man.
You just bringing me vodka like that?
Oh wow.
Welcome to the My Mind is a Weapon podcast.
What's crack-a-lack-a-lackin', everybody? Today, we have a wild episode coming. This is the first time ever doing this. I want to start doing this every Friday. It is going to be unhinged, agree or disagree on 10 fantasy topics. I have a superstar cast of lineups here. I have Big Draft Energy in the building, who just rated the channel before. He was streaming, doing Drafters Best Ball. Amazing. Part of the family. The guy supported me so much. TippMajor and his boy Rippe and Tip. They do a show together as well. Part of the sports affiliation. And my guy PPRFantasyTips. But enough of me talking about them. Let them introduce themselves here. Go for it, Disco.
Hello, my name is Disco. I like to party. Unhinged is my idea. I am unhinged after 9 p.m. Eastern time. You guys can find me at Big Draft Energy on YouTube. Big Drafters HQ. We're already fucking unhinged. Let's get weird. That's it, man. That's me.
Go for it, Tip.
This is some kind of weird Brady Bunch group, bro. Like, this is crazy, man. I feel like I should go like that to look at Disco, look down. I'm looking at Mike, looking at the Ripper. But no, I'm Tip, man. Dude, I am so stoked to be in here. Look, I'm using a California word, stoked. This is what it's all about. Training camp has started. Preseason's about to start in less than a week. You got the Olympics to kind of hold you by for that little time period. I mean, it's the time. This is those few days we had in early July that we were just didn't know what to do. Sports fans, we about to get into the real big wave of it. So it's gonna be fun. Again, I appreciate you guys having me on, and let's go.
Always, man. There's my guy Kyle. Welcome in, my dude. How we doing today? Let the people know. I don't think can you hear me? Go for it, PPR. Take it over, man. I'll come back to him.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jared, PPRFantasyTips. Excited to get after it. Talk with you guys about some different players, ideas. Go get a little back and forth. It's always a good time. Excuse me as I, sip on my beer as we go through this. It's a Friday night, so we're getting after it here in Dallas.
I like it. Kyle, can you hear me yet? I think he's set.
Yeah, I think we're good. Can you hear me?
Oh,
I
yeah.
can hear you, yeah.
All right.
I'll let Michael introduce himself first, and we'll come back to Kyle here.
Well, man, it's tough to follow up my man PPR right there with his drink. But it's good to be here, man. I'm so stoked any chance I get on video with some fantasy football diehards. We've got time, but I have not been this excited because there's no other sports happening. And so I'm diving in hard right now on fantasy football prep for this season. And we're going to win, and we're going to win a lot. And make sure you follow me at Michael Rippe. And, of course, the Rip and Tip Hour, one of my favorite hours of the week, in season, all season. It's going to be fun tonight. I'm glad to be here.
Nice. Thanks for joining us. Kyle, you back? You ready? So also,
yeah, man. Sorry, we
go for it.
Had a tough time getting the little rapscallions in bed tonight. So good to go now. Kiddos are in bed. So just poured myself in
Go, Kyle.
Elijah Craig toasted barrel for any of you bourbon
Cheers up,
enthusiasts out there. And yeah, dude, I'm ready to rock.
Alrighty, so also if you guys are in chat, all of their links for their Twitters, and if you guys have a YouTube or anything you want to add as well, it is all in the description. You can check it all out as well. And we are going to start off with 10 topics today, and I'll fire off the first topic, and then we'll go in order, and we'll switch randomly throughout, so you're not last every time. And the first topic is something I can't wait to get to. It is Javonte Williams. Will he lead the Denver Broncos backfield? So first of all, I got to start off with I have one share of Javonte Williams in 100 best ball drafts. I have zero ownership of him in any fantasy football league, any dynasty league. I am 100% out on this man. The Denver Broncos offense was 27th last year. Do we think they got better this season? No fucking way in hell did they get better. Bo Nix is the quarterback. This is going to be an offense where they're playing from behind. And who is the better passing down back? That would be Jaleel McLaughlin. And I'm calling it right now that Jaleel McLaughlin is going to outscore Javonte Williams in fantasy points this season. Over to you, Disco.
All right. Serious question for the panel. And I hope you guys in the chat can also play along. Where did, Javonte Williams is out, he's going to get cut, Jaleel McLaughlin to the moon situation come from? It came from am I allowed to curse here? Yeah, fuck it, I'm going to curse anyways. It came from a fucking beat writer, right? So if you're getting your fantasy football insight from a beat writer, you're better off getting your fantasy football information from a fucking box of cereal. Let's be fucking real. So if we're talking about a safe floor, a good play, and let's be real, okay? So we'll talk football, jokes aside, let's be real. I don't have either one of them projected highly. I think they're both going to, stagger their play, and I think they're both going to do all right. But in terms of being all-world / league winner, I don't think either one present that upside just because game script and that division. But I will say one thing. With that division, I think we've seen a change of guard in that division. They've all tried so many different ways. All the other teams to keep up with the Chiefs, they've all tried several different ways to keep up with the Chiefs. They've all tried, bringing in firepower and, going point for point with the Chiefs. That didn't fucking work. They all tried, investing in huge defensive players, going really, really hard in free agency and the draft and targeting. That didn't work out. Historically, and we've seen it last year as well, in every scenario where the Chiefs either lost or the Chiefs were in a close game, is because the other team controlled the time of possession with the run game. So with that and that alone, you see every team in the AFC West, not named the Kansas City Chiefs, investing in making their run game their dominant aspect so they can, one, keep up with the Chiefs and also control the time of possession. So I think that's what we're going to see this year. That's why I like Javonte Williams, because if we're talking about, the AFC North kind of style, I know it's the AFC West, but if we're talking about the AFC North where it's like 3 yards in a cloud of dust, Javonte Williams is that for me. I think he has a safer floor. He's going to be on the field way more often. And I think Jaleel McLaughlin isn't necessarily a receiving back. He's a change of pace back, right? He's not a receiving back. He's a change of pace back. Yes, he can catch the ball, but so can Javonte. I think they're equal in that aspect. So that's why I like Javonte more than I like Jaleel McLaughlin. But I don't think Javonte is going to finish, higher than a top 25 running back. I don't think that. But he's being drafted right now in Drafters Fantasy as an RB34. I think he's going to be good. But I think he's going to do better than McLaughlin. Anyways, I'm done.
He had 31 receptions.
Pardon?
He had 31 receptions.
Just got paid.
39.
Yeah.
Jordan Love just got the bank. Yep.
Nice. Okay, I like that. They're going to need to run the ball more to keep up with the Chiefs this time, man. They're going to be in trouble. The Chiefs are even better. They don't have wide receivers that drop the ball this season. But take it down, Tip.
Okay, I'm going to be really quick because, we got some really great people on here that want us to talk. So this is the thing. Javonte Williams right now is going around 7.9. So I would about to say the late 7th, early 8th round right now. So if I was to say to go do the zero RB theory, that would basically mean that I would have a bunch of good pass catchers, and then I can have another solid running back because I know Javonte injuries history. So I can have another solid running back and still do the zero RB theory. I would do it. I would definitely do it. Now, look, Javonte Williams is not a touchdown scorer. He's averaged 70 every 79 touches last year. He got a touchdown. So that came out to 3. So the thing is this kid is not a running the running back, the end zone touchdowns, the red zone touchdowns are going to come few and far between for him because I think the offense struggles. Now, I think part of the end of the year, they start to get things together. Bo Nix gets settled in. He's learning the Sean Payton offense. But as him as my number 2 running back, and I started with a really strong wide receiver and tight end core, I would do it, man, and just make sure now I'm handcuffing, or not necessarily handcuffing, but I'm getting other pieces to go along with Javonte should he get into another injury situation. But the dude came back with 217 carries last year after that injury. I like it, man. I think that they believe in him. Sean Payton was going to run the ball. Yes, McLaughlin's going to be in there. It's going to be frustrating. I kind of agree with what Disco said. He is a change of pace guy, though.
Okay. Let's hear it. Rip it down for us. We'll go clockwise.
Yeah. So look, you guys have both made good points so far. Let me just add in a few qualifiers as well. One, if you're listening to beat writers, you're beat. So that's how fantasy works. Don't do it. Two, Sean Payton just came out yesterday, I think, and said he thought Javonte looked real sharp. And he specifically spoke with Javonte about losing weight to get back to his playing days in college. Javonte is on his second year recovering from the injury. He was okay last year, and I'm not quite sure still why people are so down on Denver. People have forgotten the Broncos did win 8 games last year, so I know it was kind of ugly, but 8 wins ain't that bad. If Bo Nix is serviceable, which I think he will be, he's probably going to dump down to Javonte a little bit. And so I think Javonte easily is the Denver Broncos' number 1 running back. I don't even think it's a question. And from a fantasy perspective, he offers insane value. I'm not saying he's going to be an RB1 on your team, but hey, you could draft him. He's going RB30, around a pick 100 right now, and he could way outperform that. And so I think it's a very easy question that he's obviously the answer to lead the Denver Broncos backfield.
Okay. Let's hear it, PPR. What do you got for me?
Yeah. I mean, with Javonte, I know it seems like it's kind of 50-50 split in here. For me, I'm not going to say that I'm out on Javonte because I'm definitely not. But I'm also not, rookie year in on Javonte like I previously was. Last year, I think a lot of people have overreacted to what he did. I think he was brought back in a little bit too early as far as the injury that he sustained. I think they should have just, let's be real, the Broncos weren't going to get much done last year as far as playoffs, having any kind of chance at contending. They should have taken care of their young running back and just held off. And if anything, give McLaughlin more of an opportunity to kind of get some reps in. I think it was kind of a waste, and I think it, soured a lot of people on Javonte. But at the end of the day, when he was healthy, he was like a back end. I think it was his rookie year. He was like a back end RB2 in fantasy. I think he was averaging about 11 to 12 fantasy points a game. And based on last year, that would have made him a back end RB2 as far as fantasy points per game go in PPR leagues. I think the reason I wouldn't be out on him is I think he is now a year removed from that injury that I personally think was the reason he struggled last year. And he has pass catching upside. And in PPR leagues, that's huge for me. He's had 2 seasons with 50 plus receptions. I mean, that gives you a pretty decent safe floor. And, for a late round running back going at RB32 ADP, I'm in on that. I mean, I'm not searching him out, but I'm definitely not out, and I'm not mad if I get him, but I'm also not super excited. Just kind of pray for the best and hope maybe he can pop and be a upside RB2, but I don't see anything better than RB2 for Javonte.
Okay. He had 47 receptions and played every game. So I don't know about pass catching back, but we'll call it. Take it over to Kyle.
A safe floor with pass catching. He doesn't get nothing. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
I mean, I would say Jaleel seems to be the one that has standalone value right now. Like, I think we're looking at it wrong. I think it's more of Javonte versus Estime for like the early down roles with Jaleel coming on and third down. Javonte was a guy that I really liked coming out, like versatile, complete 3-down back. Like, he had a good profile. Like, this is a guy that almost went in the first round. He was well on his way in 2022. I believe he tore his ACL, MCL, and PCL. Like, it's amazing to me that he even got on the field last year. So this is a guy that's still young. I believe he's 24. So, I mean, we're not talking about a guy that's old. I think the important thing for running backs in fantasy, it's not always about what we think, because I think Javonte is talented, but like, it ultimately comes down to how much he's used and like what Peyton thinks. So if we're not sure about this offense and there's 3 running backs that are going to be contributing, well, the answer might actually be none.
Okay. Yeah. And Audric Estime just got back from his injury, and they're saying he might take the goal line work too. So it is really
who's that?
There.
Who's they?
Who's they?
Beat writers.
Yeah.
Coach speak.
Yeah.
It's like
Your
Twitter,
people that are boots on the ground.
Twitter profile X43ABC.
It's a bot. It's a bot.
All right.
Hashtag misinformation, Nathan. Let's go.
I'll tell you though, I gotta speak up for the Coach Speak Index because I feel like that account does some really good work.
Great account.
Some of the other stuff you got to be careful because like every beat writer doesn't always have a pure agenda.
True.
Hey, Coach Speak just gives you the facts. You just watch the video, take it however you want to. You can read their tweet and agree or disagree with their opinion. But Coach Speak is fantastic. I don't know why anybody would not be following that page. It just 100%. Provides information that we wouldn't typically have. So, I mean,
the only thing is sometimes
videos, I'd go in there and make a page too. You should go up doing that. It's great content.
Sometimes I get frustrated with 32 beat writers because they kind of blur the lines between people who give fantasy advice and then they're trying just to be a news site. I don't know. I feel like they're kind of blurring the lines of ethics to me.
Hey, we're strictly fantasy over here. All right.
Okay.
I'm no scout. I don't claim to be.
So we're all kind of 50-50 split. I'm out. You guys are all kind of there on the value. Let's head to topic number 2 here, and I'm gonna let Disco lead it off. It is Devon Achane or Raheem Mostert at value. And are you handcuffing Jalen Wright in the process?
Well, it's very interesting that we go from the Denver backfield to the Dolphins backfield because just like Javonte being the every down kind of back, and then having Achane who's not really receiving back, he's a change of pace back. Let's be honest. In a perfect world, if Achane is healthy and plays all the games this season, 17, 18 games this season, he's a league winner easily. His price is absolutely spectacular. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? What are you doing with your finger?
Oh, I'm saying he's going to be RB1 if he plays every game.
Yeah. I just said that. I thought you were saying you wanted to sit on your finger or something. It was weird. Anyways. Moving on. So when I look at Raheem Mostert, I think, yes, he's older. If anybody is more inclined to get injured and go down with an injury, it's probably going to be Mostert. So the way I look at Jalen Wright is more of a direct handcuff for Mostert, whereas Devon Achane is more of a change of pace back. So I think if I am going to invest in any of the running backs, I like the Mostert role because I feel like it's the less volatile role and there's going to be more volume going to that role. But I don't like Mostert in that role this season. So I'd much rather get Jalen Wright at value. As for Achane, I feel like it's one of those bets, right? And obviously I'm a basketball guy. You got to go for the ceiling because, the safe plays don't win fantasy football championships, but I don't think Devon Achane is worth where he's going currently in, the mid to late third round. I don't think he's worth that value, but if he's healthy for every single week, he's a league winner. But if I'm talking about who do I like the most, I think Jalen Wright. I think we're going to see Mostert go down. His chances of going down with an injury is almost 100% because he goes down with an injury every single year. So if I'm going to leave the draft with one of those running backs, then I highly recommend one of those running backs. It's got to be Jalen Wright. I'll just hold tight.
Okay. Over to you, Tip.
Yeah, I mean, that's funny. We actually talked about Devon Achane yesterday on the Sports Affiliations Thursday Checkdown. Shameless plug. But we talked about him, and we actually were down on him. He's one of the guys that we're down on this year. And we were down on him collectively because of the simple fact that you bring in Jalen Wright. You have Raheem Mostert there. Raheem Mostert can still get you. I think somebody, it may have been you, Sleezball, said that he can get 10-plus touchdowns this year. And I believe he can because
he got 11 last year in 9 games.
Devon Achane is a good between the tackles, a better between the tackles run than I thought at 188 or 189, whatever, and 5'8". But the dude, when he gets out there in space, and that's the thing, they're going to try to give him in space more. So they get Devon Achane in space. Yes, that's good, but I don't know if he's going to have as many of those opportunities, those carries, those touches. Last year, if he would have been healthy, he would have had 200 total touches. And Raheem Mostert's there. They bring in Jalen Wright. I feel like they brought him in because they may be a little nervous about Devon Achane's knee or whatever happened to it last year. They may be a little nervous about it. They may be like, we can get this guy 6 to 8 touches. Now, those touches could be beautiful some weeks, but I'm not going to get my future as a second round pick or even a third round pick, maybe for something like that, man. I'm not gonna do it, man. It's just I want if I'm gonna get a running back in those early rounds, I want that guy to touch the freaking ball. I don't want him to be out there. Oh, he might get 10 yards and then we won't see him for 3 series. No, I'm out.
Okay. We got dolphins in the background over here. Let me hear it, Rip.
Listen, guys, I just kind of want to listen to everyone just wax poetic about Miami, each player. I mean, the more better things are said, the better my ears listen. A couple things first. It's A-Chan. I know there's been a lot of debate. How do we say his name? It's not A-Can. It's not A-Chain. It's A-Chan, like 4chan, but A-Chan. Right? If you guys are going to if you're going to give him the league winner title, call him the way he needs to be called. No, but in all seriousness, also, this term league winner is so misused and used for way too many people, but that's just a personal thought. All right, let's talk about this question. I like Devon A-Chan. I don't want to draft him though. Not because I don't think he can't crush it and he's not awesome, but like the amount that you have to pay for him in late round 2, early round 3 is tough because everyone is also just imagining that he's just going to do the exact thing he did last year with like 100 more carries. It's not happening. He played 11 games last year. Raheem Mostert played 15. Raheem Mostert has played 15 games and 16 games last 2 seasons. So I don't think that Raheem Mostert is just disappearing. They got Jalen Wright because you know how you keep speed fresh and fast? By resting and being able to cycle through that speed. And so none of those guys are getting 200 carries. So even if you take a little bit from Raheem, you give it to A-Chan, he stays healthy, maybe he gets to 150 carries if you're lucky. I don't see it. You have this injury concern. He's only 5'8", 5'9", 180 pounds. Tip said that. He's explosive. He's exciting. He's great for that upside in best ball, but in a home league, I don't want to pay late second, early third. I'd rather go for Mostert because you can still win. You're much more limited on your risk, much more upside reward with Mostert, and it's just a better value. And fantasy football is about value, and the way you win is following the value, and that's with Raheem Mostert.
Very insightful right there. Okay. Let me hear it. Here we go. God damn it. Let me hear it, PPR.
Hey.
Here we go.
You already know what I'm about to say. If you have looked at my page ever, you know Raheem Mustard is his last name, by the way. That is my guy. It's really this simple. Let's keep it real simple, folks. PPR, right? Although I guess, you know what? That might be the beer going in my head. He's not a pass catcher. But what is great about Mustard is he's on the Miami offense, okay? Oh, yeah. That offense is incredible. They're going to be in the red zone all the time. Raheem Mustard, I forget the exact stats off the top of my head, but I think he was top 10 in rushing attempts within the 10, as well as I think he might have been top 3 within the 5-yard line. If you think that a team just magically gave a guy that many high-value attempts and then is going to magically stop giving that guy high-value attempts after giving him an extension, it makes there's no logic to that. I mean, sure, maybe his volume goes down. If you want to say he's not going to have 2+ rushing attempts, I can hear you out there. But I think his TD upside is still there. I think Jalen Wright, I think he was brought in as depth. I think that was smart. Both of their starting running backs do have some injury risks, so I totally get that. And I think it was an incredible move by the management of the team to make sure that they're covered in case someone does get hurt. But at the end of the day, A-Chan, I'm going to mess up how to pronounce his name, but the guy's an absolute stud. He can put up crazy points, but at RB10 in PPR fantasy redraft ADP, that is crazy. The guy played 11 games, okay? I don't hear anybody talking about Keaton Mitchell or however you say his name. I don't hear anybody talking about him how they talk about A-Chain, okay? They're both on great offenses. Sure, Mitchell's coming off an injury, but that guy had crazy numbers too. I haven't heard a single peep about the guy on any Twitter page, on any fantasy page, under anything. I think at the end of the day, my summary on the backfield there is I would rather have Mustard for his ADP at RB29. He was RB4 last year. That's crazy as far as the difference. If he can even sniff anything close to that, you're getting a crazy value. HN, you're going to have the guy do the same thing he did last year, which was insane. And I hope he does, and I think he can. But you're drafting him at his ceiling. I'd much rather go for the guy that costs less, that has that higher upside, and I see no reason why he won't have the same opportunity that he did previously. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. All right, take it down, Kyle.
That take was good until that.
I think your mic's muted.
Well, it's on mute, Carl.
So I don't think we're necessarily looking at it the right way because, like, there's no doubt that Achan's efficiency is going to go down with more touches, but like he can still offset that. So like he averaged 1.36 points per or 1.36 fantasy points scored per touch in half PPR formats last year, which was insane. Good running backs are usually between like elite running backs are usually between like 0.8 and like 1. So even if he gets more touches, like I'm not worried about that. I think what I'm more worried about is Mostert. Like they just extended him, and we're talking about a guy that even though he's 32 years old, what if I told you there was 20 other running backs in the NFL who have more career touches than Mostert does? So yes, he's 32, but like you can't look at him through the same archetype as a normal 32-year-old running back because he doesn't have the same wear and tear. I think the right play with HN is a best ball because you don't have to worry about starting him. You'll get those monster spike weeks. So like I like taking him on underdog, but in a managed league, that could be very, very problematic. But I don't want to not have any HN because if he does go off and you don't have any exposure, like he's going to bury you. So obviously I think Mostert is definitely the better value, but I don't want to be completely out on HN because his high end ceiling is too high. Like you can't completely ignore that either.
Okay, here we go. It's my turn. Mostert is 32 years old. You can say he doesn't have wear and tear, but 14 injuries count as wear and tear too in your career. This man is a haggled old man. I'm not buying that he's going to stay healthy this season at all. Devon Achane, I'm going to take in the first round, and this guy is going to be
I don't even know who that is.
HN is going to be on the most winning fantasy football rosters this season. He's going to be the most rostered player. I'm calling it now. This guy was also a 20-year-old rookie last year that was drafted in the third round. You're acting like he was a top 5 prospect coming out, and he's supposed to have all this hype. He had none of that coming in. Only one person knew about it, by the way. Just kidding. He was first in fantasy points per opportunity, first in touch, first in production premium, first in breakaway run rate, the most points scored, 56 points in one game he first started. How are we talking about this guy like he's not going to be this good? He just bulked up 15 to fucking 20 pounds. He's ready to hit the ground running. They have him lining up in the slot. I am all in on Devon Achane and willing to pay whatever it is.
Who?
HN. Sorry,
Hey, Sleaze, quick question on that. He had like a mid 40% snap rate last year. How much do you think that goes up compared to last year when he's on the field?
If they start to use him in the slot more, I'll say 60.
Okay.
Max.
And what he can do with 60% is better than any running back in the NFL.
But if I could just, Kyle said something very interesting that I did not think about. He's right when he's talking about Devon Achane being, for me, I would only consider him in best ball. I've actually been overlooking him in best ball because I'm just always so in the redraft mode and in the dynasty modes where you're just, you're drafting because this is your team that you can change and restructure and do things with it. And sometimes I forget that, like when I'm doing a best ball, I'm like, oh wait, I can actually just go for spike players and just hope to the fantasy gods that they do it. And Devon Achane is one of those guys that is intriguing. I will consider the next few best balls that I do. I will definitely consider a Devon Achane.
May I ask a question?
All right,
who would you rather have? Best ball, redraft, doesn't matter. And this is for the whole panel. And sorry, Sleaze, but since we're on the topic of HN, who would you rather have for spike week and safe floor? Because like that's what you want in a round 3 investment, right? Would you rather Achane? I don't know how to fucking pronounce his name after talking to all you folks. Kyron Williams.
Listen to Ripper.
Or Derrick Henry. Who would you rather have out of those 3 running backs?
Who was the third one or the second one?
Derrick Henry, Achane, or Kyron Williams?
If you're playing best ball for total points and you want the spike week, you go in A-Chain. He's the only guy that's going to give you 50.
with those three, I would definitely consider A-Chain. A-Chain would be the guy I would consider based off of what Kyle was saying. I really liked what he had to say about that. I really like what he had to say about that. That really spoke to me. So I would consider A-Chain. I don't. Derrick Henry for a best ball. I did do it, but I had Christian McCaffrey as my number one running back, so I felt like I could do that. But I don't know. I don't know if that I would consider Derrick Henry in that position. Kyron Williams, it's almost kind of like the A-Chan thing for me when I talked about earlier. I'm not ignoring Blake Corum. I'm sorry. The coach can write notes and letters to Kyron Williams that he misses him and he's happy he's back. Then why the hell did you go and draft Blake Corum? I think of stuff like that. Like if you come on, man. Like, don't play games with me.
Kyron Williams has more injuries than A-Chan.
Don't play games with, like, look, that's what don't play games with me, coaches. Like, you do all that stuff for us to talk about. I get it. But it's like, you know that you're gonna, some part of that season may not be right at the beginning, may not be right in the middle, may not be right in some part of that season. Kyron Williams is gonna get some touches taken away by Blake Corum. You don't draft him like that and just sit him down like that. Not in the NFL now where multiple teams have multiple running backs. Excuse me. No.
Respectfully, with that logic, HN is literally in a 3-headed backfield where it's RB by committee. So why would you go with HN when Kyron Williams, literally has the clear role as a receiving and rushing back? Yes, Derrick Henry is going to have goal line opportunity. Yes, he's going to have but like if we're talking about an all around, best ball performer, it's got to be Kyron Williams. I agree with the vast majority of the chat. I love what AP just said there. If you need to back up a 3rd round pick, you should not be taking him in the 3rd round. Amen. Hallelujah. Rationale thinking. I believe it. My bad, Sleaze. But it's food for thought. I love hearing all of your takes. It's great.
This is like the same thing as HN, right? They took Corum in the 83rd pick. Like I said, it's not 1st round draft capital, and that's what you guys are expecting out of HN just because he looks so good as a rookie. I mean, the kid was 20, so I mean, I'm all in. I'm all in. But we can talk about this forever. Let's go to the next one here. We got Tip gonna lead it off here, and the topic is gonna be Patriots wide receiver room. Who do you think will emerge at the top? And this is, I should have let Disco to the Patriots first.
Yeah, please let him do it. Let him do that. So who do I think is going to lead the wide receivers? Is it wide receivers or just receiving room?
Wide receiver room. All of it. Who's gonna emerge as the one?
It's going to be Demario Douglas, I think. It's just the reason being is because you're bringing in a rookie quarterback. I if you would have said receiver room, I might throw Hunter Henry in there, man. Hunter Henry's
great value.
I like him. But you said wide receiver, so it's easiest for me. It's Demario Douglas. I've tried to, get on the KJ Osborne train when he was in Minnesota. That didn't work. So I like Demario Douglas. He's one of those guys that the Patriots love. Those little quirky, twitchy, slot guys. So yeah, I think Demario Douglas is going to be the guy that does it.
Okay, who do you got, Rip?
Is
it Ripe or Rip? By the way, just so I know.
Ripper.
It doesn't matter. We already know you don't know. You don't like to pronounce things, so you call it whatever.
Ask him to say neighbors.
I got you.
Hey,
neighbors.
Can I just say? And this isn't a shout at you, Disco, because I didn't know you're a Pats fan. I think this is like, I was trying to think. There's actually no skilled group in all of football that I think is less interesting than the Patriots wide receiver room. And that's
Broncos?
just – no, I mean, they got Cortland Sutton. They got Marvin Mims. I could get interested way quicker. More importantly, here's the thing. I mean, Jacoby Brissett probably starting, maybe Drake May. That could be interesting. But I don't want any of this. Oh, no action. I think DeMario is kind of interesting when he has a serviceable quarterback if you need like a late guy. But I kind of like Kendrick Bourne. He's kind of talented, but I have to see what's his recovery look like from the injury. Yeah. I probably would take Kendrick Bourne as like a waiver, but I really just don't want anything to do with this this entire operation right now. So I'm kind of out and not sure why there's more to talk about.
All right, heading over to PPR. What you got for me?
I mean, I think that was a fair comment. But I think at the end, I think real generally, no, I'm not looking to specifically add anybody on the Patriots to lead my fantasy team this year, right? But if we're getting like real into it, and I'm like, who on the Patriots offense do I think has the best chance of being a contributor in a PPR fantasy league? I'm definitely between Bourne. He did a decent job last year. He averaged, when he was healthy, I think it was for like 8 to 10 games, he averaged something around 12 fantasy points per game, which isn't great, but it's a decent flex play, right? So he has the talent there, but it is definitely not an ideal situation that he's coming off a bad injury. So for me, it's between Polk and Baker in my eyes. And I liked KJ Osborne in Minnesota, honestly. Like, I considered him a little bit, but I think at the end of the day, the Patriots would not have drafted two wide receivers that are as talented, or at least thought of as talented, as Polk and Baker. I just don't think they would have done that without the thought that one of them at least would become a main contributor. And for me in fantasy, I'm not super confident in either one of them because the offense, I think, is going to suck. Stevenson is really the only one that I'm really interested in it all on that offense for fantasy. But if I've got to stash someone, I think for me, based on the ADP, I'm going Baker. I like his confidence. I think he's a playmaker. Roll Tide. He played for Bama, so I've got a little of that Bama bias in me there. I know y'all might not like that, but say it with my chest, Roll Tide all day. I'm a little biased when it comes to my Bama boys. But
who's your NFL team?
Oh yeah, Roll Tide. I went to Alabama, graduate there.
Who's your NFL team is my question.
Oh, Cowboys. I'm from Dallas. I'm from Dallas. You can't call a bandwagon. Look, a man lives in wonderful places. You can't blame me for that. I live in Alabama, beautiful college team. Live in Dallas, used to be a beautiful NFL team.
I was gonna say, is that a good thing to be like on the Cowboys bandwagon?
I'm not a bandwagon. I'm no diehard. Right? I cheer Cowboys, but I'm not out here. They're not pissing me off when they lose. I just, classic Cowboys. All right, but if they win, I'll be lit. I won't lie. I'll be out here on Twitter talking all the trash. But definitely no diehard. That's for sure.
Got you. All right, over to you, Kyle. Who you taking in the room?
I mean, I would say my money's on Pop Douglas. I don't want to get too crazy with this offense. I think you guys are right about that, but like, you can't completely say like for sure they're going to suck because like we thought that about the Texans last year. And granted, we should have identified Bobby Slowick going over there from the Shanahan tree. Like, we should have been more bullish. Like, I was a guy who loved Stroud, but I wasn't sure about the Texans situation. So sometimes you got to trust your gut. Like, I just think Drake May is a freaking stud, a baller. Like, this guy's got such a high-end ceiling for me. Like, I actually thought he was QB2 in the class. How good he's going to be as a rookie and how soon he's going to play is another question. But I would still say it's Pop Douglas because he's got the slot role. So, like, he's not going to be as impacted by whoever the wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 is on the outside. It's hard to imagine the Patriots offense being worse than it was last year. Like, it was just so bad. It's probably still not going to even be in the top 20, but like, if you're getting these guys, if you're getting these guys at like the end of like I was getting Pop Douglas in like May best ball drafts in like round 17. Like I'm fine with that. His ADP is really crept up now. So I don't want to probably be even at market on the Patriots offense, but you never know. You got to take those flyers.
Okay. So for me, it's Pop Douglas, but he's so small. He's going to play the slot. He did get injured last year. He has the tiny, tiny frame, and he could just get crushed going across the middle, which would ruin my best ball dreams because I have so much Pop Douglas. But if I'm targeting a wide receiver, and I think it's kind of like undervalued when we're talking about it, the Patriots are going to win, 4 or 5 games here. They're going to be playing from behind. The passing volume is going to be there. If one guy can emerge and become the true alpha 1, I think it's going to be Javon Baker. He has a giant chip on his shoulder from transferring to 2 colleges. If you've ever watched any of his tape, this man is electric. He can high point the ball with the best of them in college, and he just needs to emerge. Jalen Polk got kind of lucky at Washington that McMillan got hurt. I thought Jalen McMillan was way better than him. And look at the Bucks camp now; he's already thriving. But if there's anyone I'm taking, and it's going to be tough because it's redraft, right? You know, it's going to pop probably late in the season. But I like Javon Baker to emerge as the number one in this offense.
Let's go with Sleaze.
Over to Disco. Patriots Nation, let me hear it.
You guys ready? All right, here we go. Here we go. The Patriots will finish with a better record than the Miami Dolphins this year. That's number one. The Dolphins do not finish strong. Their defense and O-line got significantly worse, but that's not the topic at hand. I'm just taking shots because you took shots at my Pats. Like, you can't have that ugly, like, puke teal and talk shit about my Pats and expect me not to take shots back. Anyways, I'm good. But I will have to agree with Rip. The receiving core, not only is it lackluster, not only is it lack any sort of certainty or any sort of firepower, it also has a lot of moving pieces. Like, we got to remember, there's still Juju Smith-Schuster. And yes, Juju Smith-Schuster was literally running on one knee, but he was the only person, like, out of that entire core who had any sort of fantasy football relevancy whatsoever. So I'm saying, like, it's deep. It's got KJ Bourne, and it's deep of shit. Like, not a lot of them are good. It's got KJ Bourne, Kendrick Osborne. Like, it's the Bourne garbage fucking situation there. We got Demario Douglas, and I love Demario Douglas. I've been preaching Demario Douglas, but I think we're a year away from seeing Demario Douglas emerge as a premier wide receiver in the NFL because Drake May isn't ready yet. Jacoby Brissett isn't the guy. Jalen Polk had very reliable hands, but the situation sucks. The situation's absolutely shit, right? Javon Baker, sure, he's a good player, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, they're all, like, my rule, number one in the Big Draft Energy 10 Draft Commandments is don't be a homer, and the Patriots are making it really fucking easy to not draft players from my team. But I still, I hope we do okay. But yeah, it's tough. And like Tip said, if I want to target any sort of receiving targets from there, it's none of the wide receivers. It's probably Hunter Henry, and even he's a fucking shitty play as well. So yeah, I don't think I like any of them or love any of them. If I'm going to get exposure in a best ball, it's going to be Demario Douglas because he's got return upside.
Wait, Disco, were you serious about what you said, or were you just trying to get your anger out?
I was just trying to get my anger out, brother. We're shit.
All right. That's great.
Okay, so we're already 40 minutes in. We're going really long on the topic, so I'm going to cut it down here. Do you guys want to do your best sleeper past ADP and then end it with your topic on what's the best draft strategy? I think we do that. That makes it easier. All right, so we'll let Rip take it off here. Give me your best sleeper past ADP 100 that you think will finish in the top 15 at their position.
All right, so damn, I put all of the work together and then you just skipped it out. Now I didn't get to the last questions, and now no. This is easy.
So long.
It's easy. Brock Purdy's the answer, but that's kind of cheating because he's ADP 106. He's clearly going to be a top 15 QB. He'll be top 10, but I'm not going to cheat. Here's the guy, and this is the man that I want in as much action as I can get, and that's Gus Edwards. Look, ADP 125, Jim Harbaugh does one thing, and that thing is run the football. Everyone's saying this one constant theme this summer. The Chargers have no receivers. You're goddamn right they don't, and that's great for the running backs. So give me all the Gus Edwards as you want. And you know what is even better? Stack that with taking J.K. Dobbins a little later, and you're guaranteed to have an elite running back 2, upside running back 1. I just love Gus Edwards. He had 13 touchdowns last year. Greg Roman only wants to run the football, and then he wants to run the football by running more football. This one is so easy and obvious. I have no idea why Gus Edwards is so low. But just to secure my investment in Gus Edwards, I'm grabbing J.K. Dobbins. I'll let it figure itself out after a couple of weeks. I have no belief that J.K. can stay healthy. I know he could be the best if he's healthy. It sounds like Joel Embiid stuff, but J.K.'s never even played. So more importantly, Gus Edwards, he's severely undervalued. And when you say league winner, again, I don't like the idea of league winner. Grabbing Gus Edwards at ADP 125 and having him be, potentially late RB1, early RB2, is league winning type of stuff. So give me Gus Edwards. There you go.
Okay, I like that a lot. I think the only point I would go there against that is they're going to pound the run, but I don't see the Chargers being ahead that much where Harbaugh can use the Michigan style to pound the run. But I do love Gus Edwards at value.
Oh, just to be clear, Jim Harbaugh, best winning percentage of any coach alive right now in the NFL. Just saying.
49ers were stacked.
Alex Smith. Keep it moving.
Take it off, PPR. I like Gus. I do like Gus.
All right. So one of my favorite value picks, and I'm trying to pick somebody I don't think anybody else is going to say out here because, his name is banned, it seems, on fantasy football Twitter right now. It hurts my heart. My guy, Snoogs guy, our friend, Austin Eckler. All right. Austin Eckler. I know. I see everybody's face. Okay. I understand. He looked.
Did he go to Alabama?
He did not look good last year. I completely get it. I agree with
Western
you.
Colorado.
I hear you, right? But let me just lay this out for you, okay? In 2021 and 2022, so both years right before last year, he was averaging over 21 fantasy points per game. He would have been an absolute lock to be one of the top running backs that you would have drafted in PPR fantasy leagues. PPR is the key here. That is key with Eckler. Okay. 2023, before he got hurt, in week 1, he put up 26 fantasy points. Okay. Out of 4 out of the 6 games where he played at the beginning of the year before he got hurt, he averaged over, or he put up, not average, he put up in 4 out of those 6 games, he put up 20 points within fantasy and PPR leagues. Okay. So the guy has the upside. It's not that the guy has magically forgotten how to run the ball. He's not going to be good in fantasy. And I get what you're saying. He's on a different team. Who knows what his target's going to look like? Brian Robinson Jr. is there. He was good at pass catching. I get it. But I don't understand why, maybe I'm wrong here, but I don't understand why Washington would bring in a guy like Austin Eckler that clearly, based on his comments, does not want a heavy rush volume, right? He wants to be involved in the pass game. That it seems to me like that's where he wants to live. He wants some touches in the rush game, but in general, I think he wants a nice little mix. He wants to live on his island and kind of stay healthy and last as long as he can. He doesn't want to go Derrick Henry mode and work his bones into the ground, right? Eckler still has the upside. I'm going to say for this year, I do like Brian Robinson Jr. and the Washington offense is definitely not the, Chargers offense with Justin Herbert, but I think he can be a RB2. And right now he's being drafted as the RB40, which I think is crazy. Like this guy was a dominant running back in fantasy football. He's going to catch the ball. I don't care about Brian Robinson and how efficient he was last year at catching the ball, okay? He was competing with Antonio Gibson. That is a completely different situation than working with Austin Eckler. And I could be wrong, and I'll own that L. I'll eat it, like Jameson Winston would say. But it just would make no sense. Why would you go get Austin Eckler if you weren't planning on feeding him the ball? Yes, last point, Jaden Daniels is going to run the ball. I know I've seen people say, oh, rushing quarterbacks, they're not going to dump it off. Okay, sure. Maybe you're right. But I would think if you're Jaden Daniels and you've got Terry McLaurin, you got Jahan Dotson, you got Brian Robinson Jr., you got Austin Eckler, you're going to run the ball. And he's going to run the ball a lot is what I'm thinking because I think he's a league winner. But Eckler is going to be a great safety blanket. He's going to be a leader in that running back room. He's got the experience. He's put up the numbers to kind of provide that leadership and have that seniority or whatever you want to call it. I just think at the very least, he's going to be a value. And I think he can provide RB2 value for you with the upside on a weekly basis to put up 20 plus points randomly. I don't think he's going to remotely do that again, though, how he did on the Chargers. But I think we're looking at 12 to 15 points per game. And that's a solid value for RB40 ADP wise.
I like it. I would also throw in that their offensive line is very bad, man. They're not going to be running the ball like you think. I think it's like 28th, 29th ranked. It's going to be a lot more dump offs. I love Austin Eckler value as well.
Let's go.
Kyle, who you got for me?
Yeah, sorry. They brought in Austin Eckler, Bobby Wagner, and Zach Ertz because they need good veteran presence in their locker room. They're trying to establish a culture after all the bad years of Dan Snyder. So
very fair.
That's the reason.
Hey, very fair.
PPR is out here taking strays and he can't defend himself. That wasn't fair. I'm sorry, dude.
I like it. That's a good point.
So my best sleepers past ADP, it's definitely Tajay Spears for me. Like, this dude was really good in his limited time last year. Like, we're looking at the Titans. I think they made some huge improvements this season. They signed Lloyd Cushenberry from the Broncos to be their center. They drafted your Bama boy, J.C. Latham, 7th overall. They have Peter Skoronski from last year, a couple other guys they signed. Obviously, they brought in Ridley. You know, I'm kind of so-so on Will Levis. I do like the upside. Don't know how good he's going to be. But hard not to feel bullish on Tajay Spears because, like, Tony Pollard was in, like, the most amazing situation last year, and, like, he couldn't do anything with it. So why do we think that just because he got paid that, like, he's going to be the guy?
He was hurt last year.
Yep, I agree, Sleaze.
So I'm liking Tajay Spears, and then my other guy would be Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think he's going to overtake Tyler Lockett this year. You know, his ADOT last year was terrible because Shane Waldron didn't really know how to use him, which one thing that gives me a little bit of pause for the Bears this year. Like, I think the Bears are going to be great long-term, but, like, I don't think Shane Waldron or Matt Eberflus are any good. So I think the Bears next year, when, like, they got Ben Johnson as their head coach, now we're talking.
Yep.
But yeah, Shane Waldron really misused Jackson Smith and Jigba. He broke his wrist in the preseason and was probably rushed back. So I don't think we got to see the JSN that we should have seen. So I think that with Ryan Grubb taking over as offensive coordinator, he ran that great offense with Washington. They're going to be more up-tempo. You know, Geno Smith, is he great? No, but pretty good. And I think JSN's like a great compliment to Metcalf. So yeah, I'm still in, baby. I think JSN's gonna have a good year.
You think he's gonna finish top 15 though?
He doesn't have to. He's going as like wide receiver 45 right now.
The topic says.
Yeah, we're saying top 15. I'm high on JC's. I don't know about top 15 though, but I'm high on.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize he had to go top 15.
Oh, I'm tripping too. I'm not gonna lie. I thought we were just picking our best.
Too late.
Yeah. Hey. Let me clarify.
Everyone's drinking a little much
Eckler
here.
is not top 15. Eckler is not top 15.
You heard it first. PPR said he's top 15.
Cut the clip. Cut the clip. This is recorded. This is recorded.
All right. Hey, the mosaic.
If we're talking about a guy that could go top, that could finish top 15, that's being drafted outside the top 100, then it's got to be Khalil Shakir, in my opinion, because if somebody goes off with Josh Allen, like, that's what you want.
Hey, Billy, I'm reading that.
All right. Here we go. You're gonna hate mine, and everyone's gonna go against me. But I'm telling you, if it happens, it's gonna be true. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna go with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson being drafted at ADP 134 at quarterback 24. Last season, in the healthy games he played, he averaged 18 points a game, which would put him at a top 13 quarterback, which easily, if he played the season, would be better. Has the rushing upside, has the number 1 ranked defense, has a top 5 offensive line. They bring in Jerry Jeudy in the slot. I don't know if Njoku's going to still have the same season, but I like the breakout he had. I wanted to see what Cedric Tillman was made of last year. I like that they put Elijah Moore to the side, so if something happens to Jeudy or injury happens, he will step in. But I am all in on Deshaun Watson's bounce back finally being here. Who you got for me, Disco?
All right. Billy's comment is his comment there is absolutely everything. That is a great comment. Oh, man.
I missed it. What he said?
Reading is not a strength
Don't put that up on the screen, Sleaze.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Roll Tide.
Hey,
we
just count championships. We don't learn how to read.
Yeah.
Wow.
Billy, thank you for that. That was great. I appreciate that. That was a great laugh. Okay, so I got one for every single position. All right, and I'm going to save the RB for last, and I'm not going to give you guys a big take or anything like that. I'm going to save the RB for last just to piss, my guy PPR off. So first one, quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, easily. His offensive situation has improved drastically. And yes, I said improved Losing Calvin Ridley is an absolute blessing for my guy, Evan Ingram, because Evan Ingram needs to get involved in the red zone a little bit more often. I think Gabe Davis is an absolute great splash play to take the top off. BTJ is my favorite to finish as, the best wide receiver in fantasy football this year, and Christian Kirk is as reliable as it comes. The running game is going to be absolutely spectacular. So Trevor Lawrence, easily top 15 smash. Right now in Drafters Fantasy, his ADP is 123, 121, 118. I think that's an absolute smash. Top 15 is his floor. At the wide receiver position, I don't necessarily think that I believe this, but I'm going to say it anyways because Sleaze has been talking him up. I like Jahan Dotson. a lot, right? He was running a lot of routes where he was completely wide open, and his quarterback was running for his life, and his quarterback couldn't really hit him, and his quarterback threw for a heck of a lot of yards, but he never really saw Jahan Dotson. So I think Jaden Daniels will get him the ball, and Jaden Daniels shows incredible touch. At the tight end position, I think it's a super, super simple, easy answer. I think anybody who knows me knows which tight end I am very bullish on. And, we even gave him a weird nickname, and our community all calls him the same nickname, which is Mr. Man-Meat himself, Jelani Woods. Jelani Woods easily, I think.
I love it.
Pause.
Yeah, Man-Meat himself. I didn't give him that nickname. That was Bayou Bengal. Shout out to Bayou Bengal. Make sure you hit up Bayou Bengal with a sub. He is one of the best and most athletic tight end prospects we've ever seen. In the tight end position is probably the most athletic position in football, in my humble opinion. And Shane Steichen is an absolute genius when it comes to getting the ball to the tight end position. So a healthy Anthony Richardson, a healthy Jelani Woods, I think that's going to be one of the best stacks in fantasy football, period. Okay, running back position. This is for my guy, PPR Tyler, all right? Trey Benson.
Oh, man. It's going to go.
If we're talking about James Conner, okay, if we're talking about James Conner, every year he misses minimum 4 games, right? Okay. The moment James Conner misses a football game, Trey Benson is almost bigger. He's definitely faster, and he is better receiver than James Conner. He's better everywhere. So just because he tweeted 1,000 yards as his floor doesn't necessarily mean that's applicable to fantasy football. Trey Benson was brought in for a fucking reason, and that reason was to replace your guy, James Conner. I'm done.
Oh, fire back PPR. It's time.
Yeah.
Let me hear it.
Oh my God. That genuinely, I don't even know that I want to, initiate anything after that comment. Top 15 for Trey Benson is outrageous. I don't see any chance under the moon. James Conner can miss 5-6 games. Guess what? Your boy Trey Benson is not sniffing top 15, even if that happens. James Conner has been so good. Yes, he misses games. And I will say, if you own James Conner, you should try to get Trey Benson 100%. I totally agree. I don't think Trey Benson is bad, but he's not going to have the opportunity this season to reach the level that you're talking about. I get it. You want to just, throw a little confetti on my parade, but in a negative way, of course. It sounds positive. I put it the wrong way. It's once again the mosaic talking. But at the end of the day, James Conner is running that backfield. There is zero chance that Trey Benson takes it over without a serious James Conner injury. He just came off one of the most efficient seasons that he's ever had, and now their offense has gotten better. They've got a healthy Kyler Murray. They've added the stud Marvin Harrison Jr. to the offense. I think that's just going to put James Conner in a better position to score touchdowns, and I don't think there's really too many running backs in the league. I don't know that you could name 12 running backs without including James Conner that if you had a red zone touch within the 5-yard line that you want to give that ball to right now. That's just me. So, yeah, I know. James Conner's my guy. I'm a ride or die with James Conner, and, it is what it is. We'll see what happens. I can't wait to see how it all plays out. We got lots of fun stuff going on in the NFL for 2024.
I love Conner at value this season. I can't lie.
Incredible value. I didn't even say that. The dude's an incredible value in fantasy. My Lord.
Okay, so we hit the hour mark. Let's do a couple questions. If you guys have any questions,
whoa.
Yo, Sleaze.
I can't leave my guy Tip out. Let me hear it. My bad.
Man.
Monka.
That's like
My
No,
bad.
it's cool.
with a
It's
no,
cool.
I'm
It's cool. It's cool. So, this guy's ADP is at 133 right now. If I go back and look at his last season, specifically in the postseason, he averaged 6 catches a game. I mean, that's moderate. It's okay. But Romeo Dobbs, if he can get his target up to 8 catches a game, or eight targets a game, excuse me, then I think he can catch some, 5, 6 of those catches. Maybe he catches all of them because he has good hands. He's a good possession receiver. But if he gets up to 8, that's 136 targets over a full year. If he goes some weeks where he gets double-digit targets here and there, which, I mean, it's not going to happen a lot because you still got Christian Watson, you still got Jaden Reed, you still got Dontavian Wicks, you still got those tight ends there. You got Josh Jacobs, although I think he's going to run the ball. I don't think he's catch a lot of passes, but he'll catch the balls too. I think it's like it's a situation where Christian Watson, if he gets banged up or injured again, like he's always been, if Jaden Reed is a guy on there who I think will always be a threat to Dobbs' touches. I don't know if Dontavian Wicks would be. I mean, he's good. I think he would be in like really spread, like when they spread the ball. I think that that's when they're going to really use him more. So I like Romeo Dobbs because I think you'll see him on the field the most. Jordan Love has trust in him. Trust him big time in the red zone. When they get into those 20s,
Led the Packers in targets, right?
He trusts him there more than his tight ends, and because Romeo Dobbs has not only got good hands, he'll high point the ball. He'll leap up and get it 6'2". So I like him a lot. I think Romeo Dobbs has an opportunity. Or you say top 15, I think he can sniff right at that 15, 14, 15. Because I think I see a world where he gets 75 catches, close to 1,100 yards, and maybe like 6 to 8 touchdowns. I see it happening. If you put him in that 1,100 yard range with those, that's top 15. At least last year it was. So I think Romeo Dobbs. I'd love this kid, man. And at 133, you're telling me that if I really want to wait on wide receivers and have him as my flex or my number 4, I would love that. I think you can do it. I think I've done it. And I think you'll be happy in it. Romeo Dobbs is the guy.
Okay. I mean, it's crowded Packers room, man. I mean, I think you need Watson to go down. I think you need Reed to go down because I like Wicks a lot as well, too. But I can see that. Okay, so we hit the hour mark. Let's run through real quick. Be like 30 seconds. Give me your best draft strategy, and then we'll take some questions here, and then we'll call it a night. Amazing. What is your best draft strategy heading into redraft this season? We'll start it off with Rip this time, and then we'll go around.
All right, I'm going to do something a little bit different here. There's so many strategies. Look, this is specifically for leagues that are playing week 14 as the playoffs, which some people are going to be in leagues like that. Check your settings. If you are, you got to know there's 6 buys. It's the Ravens, Broncos, Texans, Colts, Patriots, Commanders. You got to take all those players like Lamar Jackson, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Javonte Williams, Jonathan Taylor, and you got to make them lower on your draft board. Because there's nothing worse than getting to the playoffs and then not having your guys. And there's going to be a lot of leagues where you're going to get to week 14 and you're like, my first round matchup, I don't have my player. So you got to change your rankings. This is something that I don't see anyone else talking about, but is actually extremely important. So just check what your league settings are. If you play week 14 as the playoffs, you got to take those 6 teams and you got to take those players and drop them down your draft boards a lot and have some type of idea that you have a full starting lineup for your playoff games. That's a strategy right there.
I like that. Good point. What do you got, Tips?
Honestly, I don't have anything too crazy. Wait,
running back heavy, wide receiver heavy.
What are you talking about right now, Sleaze?
Running back heavy strategy, wide receiver strategy, hero running back, 0 running back. What's your strategy going into the draft?
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were talking to me. All right. So at the end of the day, for me, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. Know your scoring system and be able to adapt. Okay. You should not go into any fantasy draft. I mean, sure, they're like specifically what Mike was saying a second ago. if you have a league where you know that bye weeks are going to fall in a certain period, yes, very smart to make plays and target with that kind of a strategy. You're going to have an advantage on your other league mates that don't realize that. But in general, I would say, you know, you want to be looking for the best available. That's what I do. In PPR leagues, best available is guys that are going to get heavy volume in the pass game. If you can find a guy that's going to get heavy volume as well as is the TD threat. So look up the guys that over the past 2-3 years that have had the most touchdowns, but also get heavy volume. I would say at least 100 targets. Start there, figure out who those people are, narrow it down, write a list out, and then figure out after that. Obviously, things are not going to go your way. People are going to get drafted as you go along. But in PPR leagues, I think you really do. It's very simple, but just find the volume. Find the volume, find the targets, especially with the running backs. If you find running backs that are talented, can score touchdowns, and or are going to catch passes, that's why you see guys like Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. You see all of them at the very top of the running back room. But if you can find values that do that, like for instance, Jerome Ford, I think he's one of the best running back values you can find. The guy catches passes. Nick Chubb is hurt. For some reason, everybody's completely asleep at the wheel on him. If you can get him towards the end of your draft and you've got a guy that can get you a safe floor at the very least, I love it. So just kind of look for the volume. I kind of keep it pretty simple. I'm not going to get too complex with it. Find the volume, look for the volume, be flexible, know your scoring settings. Roll Tide.
So you're always taking a wide receiver first?
Not always. If you follow my page, you've seen if you have the first pick, I'm going Christian McCaffrey all day. I actually posted today how an ideal first round draft would go. So there are situations where I would go running back, but I would say I'm going wide receiver over running back, over 50% of the time. They're just such elite guys at the top of the draft that I want that volume. I want those guys. I want that upside, and I'm willing to take the risk on a wide receiver to start the draft in a PPR league.
Okay. What you got for me, Kyle?
So I would say I'm typically an anti-fragile drafter, which means I'm typically trying to avoid running backs in the early parts of drafts because I'm trying to build a team that's going to get stronger as the season goes on, which is one of the things I love about zero running back. But I think we also have to look at how much the running back landscape has shifted. And a lot of these guys are going a lot later than they, typically were. So my kind of strategy is, if I'm picking early, I want to get McCaffrey, I want to get Bijan Robinson, I want to get Breece Hall. But I think there's a clear tier break after those three guys. I love Jahmyr Gibbs' talent, but David Montgomery, guys, it's a problem. And I think Gibbs is going to be great. He's going to be efficient with his touches, but he's not in the realm with those other three guys unless Montgomery gets hurt. So not to say Gibbs can't pay off at ADP. So my kind of strategy is kind of flipped because I was typically a heavy zero running back drafter, but like I said, the landscape has kind of shifted now where there's so few bell cow running backs now. There's so few running backs where we can look at, oh yeah, this guy's just going to get the lion's share of all the carries and all the, high value touches, and he's going to be on the field all the time. Those guys are so hard to find now. So if I can lock one of those three guys down with those three running backs, boom, I'm doing that. But then if I can't get one of those three guys, I think running back really kind of flattens out. Plenty of guys, I could even start some drafts 3 wide receivers, and then I can start to kind of go attack the running backs because I don't like to always commit to a strategy because it's kind of like poker, right? You got to be able to read the room and kind of get a feel for, the table, kind of much like in poker. But that's kind of my strategy. I want to get one of those 3 running backs early. If I can't, then I'm going to wait.
Huh. Okay. I like that because this is going to be better because I'm on the total opposite spectrum of most of you guys in this situation. One of the things for me too that I like a lot is a very sneaky thing about your leagues is know your players' bias of what teams they like, because for some reason, no matter what, you're going to see a weird reach or a weird pick for a team they like. Now, for me, I am going 3 running backs every single draft this season, 100%, no matter what. If I can get the value of George Pickens, Amari Cooper, and Chris Godwin in the next 3 rounds, then snag Evan Ingram, I'm winning the championship every single time. Your value at running back drop off is so low from the top to the bottom of the season. You're like you brought up the bell cow. I like that point. You're going to have CMC. You're going to have Bijan. You're going to have Breach. You should have thrown Jonathan Taylor in there. I think he's due for a massive year over Gibbs. And that's probably your bell cow smash right there, right? Maybe, 20 touches. Maybe Zamir White. I think he can see 20 touches, but that's later in the draft. But I am running back all the way because I do not like the drop off, and I can find better value at wide receiver in the drafts later. What do you got for me, Disco?
I'm going to let Tip go first because you forgot about him last time, you fucking dickhead. So
that was my fault.
By the way, all the advice that you guys have given is absolutely bang on and spectacular. But go ahead, Tip. The floor is yours, brother.
Mute. You're on mute, Tip.
Tips.
My draft strategy, just like Kyle was saying, it changes. I'm able to adapt. I read the board. He talked about reading the room when you're playing poker, but you have to read your board. Reading your board is one of the key things, one of the most fundamental things that you can do now, even online, but especially in a live draft, because those little stickers are color coded for a certain reason, and they have RB and quarterback and wide receiver on there for a reason. So that way you can kind of know wherever you are in the draft, those people that are in between you, or maybe those people that are down a few picks ahead of you, you can look and see what those teams are tending to do, what they're trending, do they need a quarterback? Do I need you can find those things out. So my draft strategy is always changing, always going left when I think I'm going to be going right. I'm going to zig when you're going to zag. I'm able to adapt to it. And that's why I think I'm a good, drafter, right? Because I'm able to adapt that. When I first started, it was tough because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna do RB theory. I'm gonna do the hero RB. But no, you have to be able to adapt, guys. You could go in there with a plan all you want. But what did Mike Tyson say? You go in there with a plan, you get punched in the face. When you get punched in the mouth, your plan's gonna change. Otherwise, you're gonna be on that canvas. So I just think that, go ahead, come out there with a strategy, but just know that it's about to go left really quick, especially in the league I'm gonna be in.
I like that. I can't wait to draft with you in your actual league for
you
Vegas.
Oh yeah, that too. But you drafted with me, Sleeve. You saw it.
I did. All right, end it off, Disco. What is going to win a championship this season with draft strategy?
I think everybody in here is absolutely sharp, right? Because you are listening to some of the greatest minds: Michael Rippe, TippMajor, PPR Fantasy Tips, Kyle, Sleezball. Like, these guys are as sharp as it gets, right? So I think everything that they said was absolutely spectacular. And one thing that I should probably add is, draft like you're betting. You know what I mean? Have the balls. Just have because it's 2024. Anybody could draft you. I'm not trying to get fucking canceled right now, but have the courage. I should say, have the courage, have the fucking balls to draft the way that you want to draft. Double down on your research, get your guys, but also have the humility to know that you could possibly be wrong. So draft like you're right. Know that you could be wrong, because at the end of the day, it's football and shit happens. Like 2 years ago, the fantasy football playoffs was decided by a guy almost dying on the field. We saw two of the best teams not fucking play football. You know what I mean? Shit happens. So, have fun with it. Enjoy it. Get your reps in. I highly recommend you do, best ball drafts, because it's real money, real shots on net. You're not going to get people who do, 3 rounds, auto picking a Yahoo draft and then dip out. Do your best ball drafts. You'll get 17, 20 rounds, depending on where you're drafting, of real actual opportunity. And then come draft season, you'll know what real value is, real ADP is, and you'll be able to smash all of your fucking league mates. So make sure you sign up using promo code SLEAZE on Drafters Fantasy Sports, and he'll double your initial deposit dollar for dollar up to $100 riskies. Let's fucking go.
That's right. An amazing show today, guys. I did realize something today. I was like, man, 6 people to get an hour of topics. We could talk for this shit for days, man. This could go for 3 hours. We went through all 10 topics. So this is a trial run for the first week. I will be doing these every Friday. Bring on new people. If you guys want to come back, you're always more than welcome. amazing content, amazing minds. All the answers were great. I even like locked some into my mind of different things I haven't heard. So Disco is Big Draft Energy. TippMajor is at TippMajor. Kyle is Luck is Made FF. He's also a writer for Rotoballer. You can check out his content on there. It's always good stuff. He's very clever with how he words stuff. It's very great. Jared, PPR Tips, the must start nonsense, and Michael Rippe, and I think it's Rip and Tip. I don't know what other shows you have. I put your YouTube in the link also. What other show do you do again? I forgot.
Who, me?
Michael.
Oh.
I'm also on Wolf Sports 3 times a week on X, so you could join us there and some other places.
Okay,
but
that's a good show. It's fun.
So all their links are in the description, guys. That is it. It's been an amazing stream. We'll be back next Friday with the same thing. I don't know who will be joining. We can switch up the crew, whatever it is. But that was awesome, guys. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be drafting in the morning. And that's it for me tonight, guys. Peace out.
Peace out.